Hello fellow riders and welcome back to Airhead Barn. We are continuing with our R90S restoration and today we are going to rebuild Carbs. So here I have left carb, and that one is the one that I'm going to show you how to rebuild. Essentially everything is the same for the right one and there is no need to duplicate the job for the cameras. When looking online, unfortunately I couldn't find many relevant information about how to rebuild these carbs. If you look under airheads, most of the airheads actually come with Bing carburetors, while these Dell'Ortos are kind of high spec or more sportish type of carburetors that were put on R90Ss. These carbs, by the way, these are Italian. They are used by many other bikes, especially Italian bikes. For instance, older Ducatis had them. I believe those were 40 millimeters. These are 38. Probably, most likely some Moto Guzzi's as well. And by the way, it's not Moto Guzzi, it's Moto Guzzi. And some other Italian brands as well. So these are nice, you know, very well known. And I thought if I'm going to rebuild one, maybe it would be worth of showing it for others to see how it's done. So the serial number for this one or a model number for this one is PHM38. 38 stands for 38 millimeters, and then it says BS. S means sinistro, which is left side. Right one would have mark BD, where D is destro. Italian means right. Alright, so without further ado, let's proceed with the rebuild. So first we are going to start with opening this top cover, and you can either use flat screwdriver or 8 millimeter. Whenever I have a chance, especially with carbs, I like to use wrenches. There is a spring underneath, so keep the cover with your fingers to prevent it from flying. This thing goes out as well. I'm going to completely remove these screws because I want to clean everything. Cover. There is a gasket here. Spring. Now we can remove slide. Okay. That's our slide with needle. A needle just comes out like this. All right. Now we can remove ball. Ball has 17 millimeter screw. Okay, this one is a bit tight. Okay. Actually, it's a nut, and this nut has a washer that will be replaced. Sometimes they are stuck like this, it goes. Alright. A lot of crud. You can see from a gas that was obviously sitting inside. We will try to wash this. Hopefully ultrasonic cleaner will clean it out nicely. Alright. So first one that I like to do is to remove these guys, floats. And in order to do that, you have actually a shaft here. You grab it one side and it slides out just like that. Okay. And then you pull up floats, and with the float you will have your float valve. Okay, this works. Okay, let me see. Yeah, it's spring loaded this side, and then front part should be rubber. Make sure rubber is still soft. If you want to reuse it, it needs to be pliable. If it's soft, you can reuse that one. Okay, and now this is done. All right. Now before, oh god, there's a lot of things here. Before we proceed, I like to squirt just a tiny bit of WD-40 here, as that's used as penetrating oil. So when I'm removing these jets, they release more easily. I mean, this carb maybe was never apart, and the jets and holders are really sometimes tough or stubborn to remove. Because of that, it's very important to have a properly sized screwdrivers, and here you always use flat, so there is no Phillips for these. So for that reason, it's very, very important that they are properly sized, because you can actually destroy things by using either not correct size or old type, worn out screwdriver. Okay, let's start with the main jet. This looks pretty nasty. Alright, but everything will be cleaned. Okay, now next one is holder, and that's 12 millimeter. And finally, atomizer is inside. Okay, but before doing it, I'll leave it WD-40 to work its way, and then in the meantime I can remove holder from this jet that we already removed. Okay, and that's 9 millimeter socket. Okay, underneath this one there is a fabric washer that we need to remove, and sometimes that one is really stuck, so it's not easy to get it out. It breaks into pieces like this one, for instance. So oh, there it is. Okay, it came out. That needs to be replaced. All right. Back to our atomizer. All right. This. Perfect. Okay, so next one is this jet here for choke. Right. And then pilot jet. And finally, accelerator pump valve. That's this one. Okay. Right, this part is done. Now we can focus here. First, we will remove housing for a choke or a chamber. 3 countersink screws hold it into place. Okay, gasket needs to be replaced. All right, now idle screw. And this one is spring loaded. So you should have a spring, screw first, spring, and there should be washer and O-ring. Okay, here is washer. And here is O-ring. And same goes for the mixture screw. Okay, I'll need to remove this washer and a O-ring from inside. They are stuck. Okay, we can do that a bit later. Okay, the only remaining part on this side is accelerator pump jet and its holder. So this is holder, and then jet got stuck inside. I need to somehow push it out. Okay, let's leave it. Hopefully WD-40 will make it easier for us to remove it. And let's actually do this side. Here I have this inlet for the gas. Screw comes out. There is a gasket that we will replace, and then inside there is a screen, like a filter for a gas. So here you would find part on a carb where you can actually put a screwdriver to pry it out. Be careful, because usually these can be reused. If you can get it out. Okay. There it is. Seems quite dirty, but intact. And I'm going to wash it and reuse it. Of course, you can always replace it if it's not good. This carb actually has vacuum tubes already installed. So this is a screw, like a plug, that comes with a fabric washer. Doing that one. Okay, so the only remaining thing is accelerator pump. It has 3 screws. Before that, actually, there is a valve here on top. It's easier to remove it while pump is still in place. Okay, so pump has a regulator screw here, and that one is set by factory, so you shouldn't upset it unless you know how to set it properly. Usually what works best for me is try to unscrew it directly here without touching this locking nut. That way we can basically return it to the same position as it was. If you want, you can also mark it. There it goes. And we are trying not to touch this locking nut. The reason we are removing it, there is a O-ring at the end, and we want to replace that one. Right. So there it is, the O-ring. Yep. Okay, and now we can remove pump very carefully. I mean the housing. Very carefully, because we don't want to destroy diaphragm here. But sometimes this is stuck, so you will need to give it a slight tap. Oh, there it is. And it's spring loaded. So keep your finger, it doesn't start flying. Okay, this is your cover, this is a spring, and this is diaphragm. Okay. This one looks good and definitely reusable. I don't see any tears in it, so we will very carefully try to remove it, pry it out from carb housing, and sometimes that's not easy. Okay. Very helpful is actually old worn screwdriver. Don't use new one because edges are sharp and it will cut through it. There it is. Okay, now we will play actually with this jet, accelerator pump jet, and try to remove washer and O-ring from the mixture screw, and then put everything into ultrasonic cleaner to give it a good bath, and I will start assembling things with the new parts. Okay folks, everything is clean and now we can start putting it back together. Here on this blue paper I actually have a repair kit together with different valves and jets, corresponding valves and jets, and sometimes, you know, there are basically no instructions which O-ring to use where, and there are different sizes, and that's why I align them this way, so you can use this as a reference if you decide to do it on your own. So let's start with O-rings. The smallest O-ring is green colored, and that one goes on the adjustment screw for accelerator pump. Then next size is this one, black O-ring, that goes on a mixture screw. Then you have two same sized O-rings. The first one goes on a jet for accelerator pump, second one on a plug screw for the vacuum pipe. Then one size up you have this choke jet, and that's where it's used, and the largest O-ring goes on the idle screw. Gaskets, there are some extra, so obviously this one, that's easy, that goes on accelerator pump. R90S usually don't have additional gasket, but it's not a bad idea to put it. So if you remember, when we were removing the pump, diaphragm itself, it didn't have a gasket, but it's a good idea to put it. Then you have these two large ring gaskets, and one is extra, another one comes here on a bottom plug. These are two exactly same paper gaskets that go on a choke body. You use only one, and that leaves us with these three small ring gaskets. So this one goes on the inlet, this one is holder for accelerator pump jet, and that one goes here, and then this one actually goes in a carb body right here, where holder for the float jet is going to be mounted. So that covers these O-rings and gaskets, and finally two big O-rings are easy to identify. This one goes on a top cover, this one goes on a ball. Okay, now when we have all that sorted out, let's start with the assembly. So I like first to start with the main jet. So first goes atomizer. Okay. Proper screwdriver to tighten it. All right. Then holder for main jet. Okay, and then main jet. Next we will do accelerator pump valve. Okay. Then pilot jet. Now we take this gasket for holder. Okay, it's properly seated. Now holder for float valve. Okay, don't over tighten it, you have a gasket just to engage gasket. Alright, and finally now this choke jet, so we need to put O-ring on top. Actually this one feels a bit loose. Yeah, it seems I was wrong. This one goes here and this one comes here. So these two same are actually for these two jets. Okay. Okay. That looks way better. Sorry for that confusion. But yeah, two same O-rings go on two jets, and then a larger one goes on the plug for vacuum port. Okay, I have here a bit of oil, so just a tiny bit on O-ring to make it swollen. That's enough. Okay, and now we are going to mount float. So shaft has a knurled edge which goes from the outside. Basically you cannot make a mistake, and before that you want to put your valve inside. Okay. Okay, valve is inserted in a holder, and now shaft goes straight through. There it is. Now we will just lightly tap it. You don't want to go crazy, you don't want to break this post. That should do it. Perfect. Okay. And that's it. Regarding this part, we can take this big O-ring, put it on a bowl and close everything. Okay, that's it. Place it over. And now plug with a new gasket. All right. And that's done. On this side we have vacuum port, so we can mount this O-ring. It's good also idea to use this washer that's provided, just in case this is too sharp and cuts into it. Okay, that will do it. And now inlet, gas inlet. So first you want to put your screen. Okay, screen is in place, and then this one goes like this. And there is a gasket that goes on top of your screw. Okay, you can align this one however you like, and then just tighten it. Okay. That's it. On this side we have a choke and a gasket. And here you have countersink screws. All right, here we have accelerator pump jet, oil, okay, this one goes like this together. So now be careful, there is a, this is C-shaped, there is a flat part, and flat part looks up. No, actually, flat part looks front. Right here is facing. So you need to align this jet in order to be properly seated. Otherwise it won't go inside. That's it. Now idle screw. So idle screw has a spring, then it has a washer, and then it has O-ring, the biggest O-ring. Alright, we will adjust that later. And then mixture is the same, spring, washer, and then O-ring. You screw it all the way in, and then 1.5 turns out. Half, 1.5. That's initial setting. Okay, these two are extra. Okay, now we can do accelerator pump. And then green one. And goes over this one. Finally, table oil. Be careful so you don't upset locking nut, because you will change the setting. Okay, that's it. And now let's put it back. Okay. Spring. And the cover. And final thing that we need to do is put slide and the needle. Settings say that needle should be on 1/3 from the top. It's here. Okay. Then you just slide it in. It's held by spring. And it has a groove, so it cannot go however you like, but actually needs to. There's a pin that fits into that groove. Okay, there it goes. Like that. And before we put spring, I want to put this O-ring. Okay. Now the easiest thing to do this is if you lift it up, because this plastic part actually needs to go inside this slider. Okay. Just like that. Okay folks, so the last piece of puzzle was actually this another big O-ring that at the beginning I didn't see it. It was still in a bag, and that one goes on a valve on the accelerator pump. So two smaller, like second to the largest O-rings, actually then can go on the, so one per bag can go on the plug of the vacuum port. But looking at the old fabric washer that I have here, I like this better than the O-rings, so I'll keep these O-rings and use my original fabric washer. Alright, so that's the last O-ring we need to install. It's exactly the same size as the one for the idle screw. Okay. It stayed in a bag and I didn't even notice it. Okay. Light smear of oil. There it is. And with that, we conclude the rebuild of a carb. I hope this was useful and that you liked it. Now this one is ready to go back on a bike. Thank you so much for watching.